It was the kind of day when even the sun seemed angry. Dry Creek, a sleepy town nestled along the edge of the Western Plains, was buzzing with the energy of the annual Western Trails Country Music Fair. Vendors lined the dusty roads with deep-fried food, lemonade, and second-hand cowboy boots. Children ran wild, their laughter echoing between booths, and the smell of roasted corn clung to the air like heat off the asphalt. But this story isn't about corn dogs or cowboy hats. It's about a moment that no one saw coming until it changed everything. Luke Harland leaned against the side of his old blue pickup, arms crossed, sweat trailing down his temples. He had driven down from Oakfield that morning with his 7-year-old daughter Lily. She had begged him for days. "Please, Daddy," she pleaded, her voice always a mix of innocence and insistence. "I want to see the singing contest." Luke hadn't cared much about fairs or music contests anymore. Once upon a time, he was a session guitarist in Nashville, respected in small circles. But when a drunk driver stole his wife from him 2 years ago, the melodies went quiet. The guitar sat untouched. He only picked it up now when Lily begged for a lullaby. Now, standing under that unforgiving sun, he watched kids with perfect smiles and pressed outfits take the stage. Some were good, some were loud, none stood out. The judges offered polite claps. The crowd was more interested in their drinks than the voices. Then, just after noon, when the heat was punishing and the crowd began thinning out toward the food trucks, the announcer called a name that barely carried over the mic. "Next up, Ellie and Grace Martin." Local entries. A few heads turned. Most didn't. From the edge of the stage, 2 barefoot girls appeared. Their dresses were faded and a little too big. They looked around 10 years old. Identical in every way, brown curls tucked behind their ears, tired eyes, freckles dotting sun-worn cheeks. One held a guitar that looked older than she was. They hesitated, holding each other's hands, walking slowly toward the center of the stage like it might collapse under their weight. The crowd barely noticed. Luke saw them. Something stirred in his chest. He leaned forward slightly, his brow furrowed. The way the taller Onia Grace, he would later learn, clutched that guitar, like it was armor. The other Onia held a mic stand like it might blow away in the wind. No introduction, no pretense. Grace strummed a weak chord. One of the strings buzzed harshly. People snickered. Then Ellie started to sing. It was quiet, fragile, but raw. The kind of voice that didn't reach your ears first, it went straight to the gut. Grace joined her on harmony a beat late, and suddenly the two voices wrapped around each other like old vines growing through the cracks in a sidewalk. The song was original. That much was clear. It spoke of nights spent alone, listening to wind rattle the windows of a trailer, of a mother's illness, of walking barefoot in search of something better. Luke stopped breathing. So did the crowd. A hush spread like a ripple across the field. Conversations halted. Vendors paused. Even a dog stopped barking. The girls sang not like they wanted to impress, but like they needed to be heard. Ellie's voice cracked on the high note. Grace's hand shook on the strings. But neither stopped. The sun beat down on them mercilessly. Their foreheads glistened. Their knees wobbled. But still, they sang. By the end of the second verse, Ellie's eyes filled with tears. Grace's voice quivered. The last note hung in the air like a prayer no one knew how to answer. Then, silence. Not a clap, not a cough, just stunned silence. And then it began. One slow, deliberate clap, Luke's, then another, and another, until the entire crowd was on its feet, applauding louder than they had all day. The girls blinked in disbelief. They hadn't prepared for applause. They bowed awkwardly. Grace swayed. Luke pushed through the crowd. Something inside him, a long dead instinct, demanded action. He reached the stage just as Grace stumbled. He caught her elbow gently. "Whoa, easy there, kiddo." Ellie flinched. "We're okay," she said quickly, pulling her sister toward her. "You girls got anyone here with you?" Luke asked, his voice gentle. They looked at each other, then shook their heads. "And dropped us off," Ellie said. "Said we might make some tips." Luke scanned the area. No adult near them, no shade, no water, just a tattered backpack on the side of the stage. "Wait here," he said. He sprinted to the lemonade stand and bought 3 ice-cold bottles. He came back, handed them over, and helped them sit on the edge of the stage. He took off his flannel shirt and laid it down so the wood wouldn't burn them. "What's your name?" Grace asked quietly. "Luke," he said. "Luke Harland. I used to play a little guitar too." "You did?" Ellie's eyes widened. He nodded. "And I can tell you two have something special." They looked down, unconvinced. "You ever played a real show?" They shook their heads. "Well," Luke said, standing and turning to face the crowd still watching curiously, "I think that's about to change." That evening, Luke found the girls Agana sitting alone on a bench near the livestock pens. He had spent the last 2 hours asking around, trying to find their guardian. No one knew where the ant had gone. "I'll take you girls home," he offered. "You tell me where you live, I'll drive you." They hesitated. Grace finally whispered, "It's an hour away, back road trailer park." He helped them into the truck and drove in silence. They passed wheat fields, dried out rivers, and long stretches of nothing. Finally, they reached a rusting trailer with peeling paint and a collapsing porch. Their aunt came out, already yelling. "Took you long enough. Where's the money?" Luke's jaw tightened. He handed her a folded 20. "That's from me." "They were amazing today." She looked unimpressed. "They better be. Ain't feeding 'em for free." The girls climbed out, waving shyly. Luke watched until the door closed behind them. On the drive home, Lily spoke from the back seat. "Daddy?" "Yeah, baby?" "Can we help them?" He looked in the mirror at her big brown eyes. She reminded him so much of her mother. "Yeah," he said. "I think we can." Over the next few weeks, Luke did more than help. He drove out to see the girls every other day. He brought groceries, fixed the broken tuning pegs on Grace's guitar, taught them harmony tricks and breathing techniques. One afternoon, he recorded a video of them singing on his porch. He posted it with the caption, "These girls sang in the blazing sun and made a crowd go silent. They deserve to be heard." It went viral. Within days, they were invited to perform at a charity concert. A Nashville producer reached out, offering a demo recording. Donations flooded in on money for school, new clothes, better instruments. The aunt relented, signed custody over to Luke after child services got involved. Months later, Ellie and Grace stood on a real stage. Bright lights, velvet curtains, and a sold-out crowd. The Grand Ole Opry. They wore a matching dress as a clean, beautiful, fitting just right. Luke watched from the side, holding Lily's hand. They sang the same song, this time, with backup instruments, mix, and perfect pitch. When they finished, the standing ovation lasted nearly 5 minutes. Before walking off, Grace stepped forward. "This one's for the man who gave us water when we had nothing, who heard our song when no one else was listening." The spotlight turned toward Luke. He tried to smile but choked up. Ellie added, "He's not just our guardian, he's our dad now." The crowd roared. Luke wiped his eyes, pulling Lily close. "I guess music came back," she whispered. He nodded. "Yeah, it did. That day at the fair started with heat, dust, and forgotten dreams, but it ended with something else, hope, and a song that will never be forgotten."